Hello everyone, welcome back to my drawing session. In this video, I'm going to be drawing a man face and the facial features. And yeah, let's get right into it. I always do the same structure as I mentioned in my previous video on how to draw faces. I always start with that same basic layer of drawing the circle, split it in half, and doing the draw line and so on. But for the male face, you will see that is the lines that I'm adding are not so curvy, although they are a little bit curvier, not that boxy, but they still have some sharpness to it. In terms of drawing the hair, I wanted to play around with the hair a little bit and add some like texture, and the ears kind of stand out, and I also didn't want to lose the hair. I like big ears in my character, but yeah, so this is me playing around with the hair. I wanted to give him like a good, like fresh wavy, but not too wavy, because I know that his hair is kind of straight but slightly wavy, and I wanted to give it some volume and some structure. But yeah, and this is me fixing the ears, like cleaning up the hair and so on. I do like drawing this style when it comes to men, but for women my lines are a little bit more curvier, more smooth. But for, even though this one you can still see some curve in my lines and so on, it's not as boxy as some male faces, but you can clearly tell that I went in a very sharp angle when it came to drawing like the eyes, because as you know, I love drawing like almond eyes. And if you're new to my channel, like I made a previous video that goes into details on how to draw faces. This is more like a drawing session to show you guys how I will go about drawing like a man's face. And yeah, so the eyebrows, as you can see, is very boxy, very sharp. And the nose was interesting to draw, because I rarely draw my nose like this, but I wanted to play around with like some different structured nose. I didn't want to give him like a little cute button nose. But yeah, the mouth came out pretty good, pretty standard for like a guy mouth. And yeah, this is basically the look. So I'll just be adding some details for the hair just to give it some more volume, some more texture and so on. But overall, I think that the man face came out pretty good, pretty decent, and I really enjoyed the turnout of it, even though it was like a simple little exercise that I just wanted to do. But yeah, I'm like fixing the hairline, and it took me a little bit of time to kind of place the lines, because I don't fully draw men's hair that much. But yeah, but I ended up loving how it looked, because it came out pretty decent to me. And now that I'm looking at it, the draw line looks pretty good. At first I was a bit nervous that the jawline was a little bit curvier than I wanted, but it actually looks pretty good. And the, you know, as usual, like the neck is pretty straight. I didn't add no curve. And yeah, so this is the entire head. So in this next session, I'm going to be trying to draw some different eyes and different expression with like the eyebrows and so on, and especially the eyebrows, because the eyebrows was very different for me. Like, me drawing this style of eyebrows was tricky, because my eyebrows are not normally like this, but it was also pretty fun to explore. Same for the eyes as well. The shape of my eyes are rarely like this. I love a good almond shaped eyes. I love a good oval eye, but this shape was new and I did enjoy it. I'll most likely play around with the shape a little bit more and maybe implement a different version of that for my female characters. But yeah, so this is me doing the other eyebrow, and you can tell that I'm struggling a little bit, but I ended up liking how it turned out, because it was slightly different. But you know, both of your eyebrows are never truly the same, you know. But yeah, I did like how it turned out. So this is me doing the second eye and doing the details for that. And I did like how I drew this shape. Now that I'm looking at it right now, it looks pretty good, and I might implement this style of eyeballs into my characters a little bit more, just to play around and give my characters a different look. But yeah, and on to a different version of eyes as well. So this one was more like an angry archy eyebrows, but I remember drawing these eyes and it was really fun to draw, but also very tricky because you can clearly tell that these shapes are not something I usually draw. And also, now that I'm thinking about it, my characters don't really have like much facial expression, so that's something I definitely will implement in my drawing, because most of my drawings usually they are smiling, happy. I do have some characters that look sad, but I rarely go above and beyond to add like details for the eyes, eyebrows, especially for like an angry character. But this is me like practicing that look. But yeah, I did like how that came out. I did like how the art on the eyebrow came out very nicely, very natural, and it didn't look too feminine. It looked truly like he was angry, you know. And looking at it now, I think it turned out pretty good, especially when you are looking at them next to each other. But yeah, that was pretty fun and interesting to draw. So my next item or my next part of the body is the feet, and I wanted to do like a slightly angle, like it was tiptoeing or it was about to tiptoe. And I did like drawing the feet. I rarely draw detailed feet in terms of like toes and things like that, because most of my characters usually have shoes on, but that was pretty interesting and that was pretty cool to draw. I would definitely implement that when in my drawing as well. But drawing each toe was interesting and a little bit fun, because like you don't really, I mean, at least for me, I don't really like, I don't know, it never comes to mind like to draw like feet and the toes, but I guess it's like the style of drawings that I typically do. But I did enjoy that, and that was pretty fun to draw. And yeah, and it came out pretty damn good, like for like my first time drawing this pose of a foot. It came out pretty good, especially the toes. I was surprised actually, and I'm still a little bit shocked. And yeah, so my next study, I think I wanted to play around and add some shadow to kind of make it look like he's not touching the floor. He's like basically tiptoeing, but it ended up looking like a puddle of water. I don't know why, but to me in my head when I look at it, I'm like, oh, this is like he's stepping on a little bit of water, but it is what it is. But yeah, like it still came out pretty good and I'm still very happy with it. But yeah, and I do love doing studies like this because it's very interesting to see how, like, you know, your mind react to like your past drawings and so on. But yeah, my next item I believe is the nose, and this was hard to draw. I don't know why. It was just not clicking. It was not going as smooth as I wanted it to be, but it still turned out okay. Not my favorite. It came out a little bit too rough, too rigid in my eyes, maybe because I'm so used to my nose looking a little bit softer. But again, most of my characters are women, so the nose that I usually draw are usually softer, so that's why this one was very hard for me and I was struggling. But I wanted to give up and kind of erase it and start over. Then I'm like, no, stick it out, just keep going, fix it, and hopefully it will look better than how it looks now. And yeah, it ended up looking okay. Not my favorite from that whole entire study, but yeah, it ended up being okay. And I'm pretty happy that I kind of, you know, stuck with it and fix it to the best of my ability. And okay, so the next nose I decided to draw was a profile nose. That one came out pretty cool. I did like how I added the roundness at the top, like a little arc on the nose, because I wanted him to have like a big nose. You know, but that was really nice. And this is me doing like a different version of a nose as well. This one was a little bit more round, and that was nice, and that's more my element, so that's why I was just like grooving and I was just chilling. That came out pretty cool. But yeah, so far it's going well. I do love it, and this is what I like when I'm doing like my little studies like this, because I get to play around with like different things, different style of you know, artwork, like play around with like different shapes, just to kind of see if I like it, if I don't like it. For example, the first nose I didn't really like that much, but the third one came out really good, and the fourth one came out really nice. But yeah, so the next item is the lips, and for some reason, I don't know, it always happens to me when I'm drawing lips, it's always crooked and I have to fix it, kind of like rotate it a little bit so that way it's straight. But I don't know, that's something weird that I do. Maybe it's how I'm holding my canvas or how I'm holding my iPod or my pen or whatever, I don't know. But this lips came out pretty cool. I do like how I made the corner of the mouth go down. But yeah, I love that. I love it actually. My next one was slightly angled, more like a third angle type of position, and that was pretty cool as well. It still gave me like a little woman lip, but I'd still try my best to make it a little bit sharp and thin, because if you know me, most of my drawings have full, big, juicy lips. But yeah, and then I figured out, I was like, okay, you know what, let me make it like smile and add some teeth. But yeah, I did like it. That was another version, more like a profile style, and yeah, that one kind of gave me like a superhero that's like yelling, that type of like cartoon-ish style. I don't know why that gave me that vibe for some reason. But yeah, but again, like by doing those studies, you get to play around with things, different shape, different shading, different style, and if you like it, you might start implementing those style into your artwork. And that's why I love doing this, and that's why I love filming them and like sharing them with you guys, because you might see this and you might not even think of like doing it, and you will implement a version of it to your artwork, and it might be a hit, you never know, or it might lead you to do something else. That was pretty fun to draw, because I wanted to give him like a little mustache, but I decided not to. I was like, okay, no, he shaved his mustache and he has a little bump, and that's why you see those little dots. But yeah, that one was really nice to draw. Very cool, simple, and that was me pushing my boundaries a little bit, because as I mentioned, I rarely draw men, and these were like interesting, and I love it actually. I ended up loving drawing like this parts, especially that mouth was pretty cool to draw. But yeah, that's the little freckles really sold it, to be honest. And yeah, oh, the last item, I believe the last part I believe I drew was like a full leg. I wanted it to be a little bit more muscular, but I should probably study the muscle group so that way I can like show it more defined. But yeah, for this, I ended up liking how it looks. It was pretty standard. Like it was okay, nothing too fancy, nothing too crazy, but I did enjoy. Did I enjoy this? I don't know, but I wanted to add like some muscles to the legs, but then something clicked, as in like, okay, so my next study should probably be like the human anatomy and know where each muscles go. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you find this video very useful, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.